for me, living here in a peaceful climate and somewhat secure, obviously it's a little bit distant sense of concern and a sense of powerlessness as well about what can be done. So what I looked at is how can we get a sense of what other Afghans think about the future. So I talked to a lot of relatives and friends who are, like myself, an expatriate. And the majority of them feel that things are probably going to stay the same or get worse, which is not a very optimistic picture. So I look at some of the press that's put out, the official press by the Afghan government, to see what they think. And there are reports of such things as schools being built, not very far from Kabul, the capital, perhaps with some funds from various sources. The one I saw reported in the official news, the Bakhtar news agency yesterday, was about a school that was completed in Charikar, which is only maybe 3-4 hours distance from Kabul, and a school that will address the problem of shortage of classrooms for boys and girls. I saw a little hope there in the fact that the word girls was also included in that sentence, because we can't be so optimistic about education, in particular about education for women and girls in the future with any measure of certainty. Another thing that I noticed was a report in the same paper, same date, about a number of coalition forces had had a skirmish, and 5 members of the opposition were killed. This is the first time I noticed the word opposition, because it's a neutral word. Often you hear it as insurgents or rebels or something like that, less positive word. And the idea was this, that the coalition press had reported that there was an attack, and of course there was a battle, and 5 members of the opposition were killed. I don't know if that's positive news or negative news, or what does it say about us having any kind of optimism about the future. And a third point that I noticed was about the government forces, government security forces, had actually identified and arrested what they called a tractor, but I think they meant a truck that was full of all kinds of arms and suicide jackets and something like 648 remote control mechanisms. And the speculation was that this tractor was supposed to be armed for further destructive activity. And it's surprising that in such a remote area, which was mentioned in this report, there would be such a fully armed tractor or truck ready to go and blow up someplace, which again is not a sign of great optimism. Then I looked at the possibility of what can the government do? What should or could the government do? How does the government see its own priorities? And I found a report in which Mr. Karzai, the president, has recently spoken at a graduation ceremony in a military academy, and he outlines a number of priorities. Of course, top on his priority was, the issue that Afghanistan should take the responsibility for its own security and defense. And a few points that he made showed a kind of interpretation of how he sees the problems in Afghanistan. Of course, he sees that Afghanistan will not be a threat to its neighboring countries, which I found was sort of interesting. because I didn't think a lot of the countries in the area were really scared of Afghanistan attacking it. But he wanted to reassure the neighboring countries that Afghanistan would not be a source of any danger to them, and asked for their cooperation, that it would be through regional cooperation that peace, security, and economic development could happen in the area. And another point he made was, gave his version of why things are the way they are in Afghanistan, and that is an explanation for the 9/11 attack, in that the foreigners, he's referring in this speech to the coalition forces as the foreigners, and that the foreigners are here in Afghanistan because a number of other foreigners attacked one of the countries. He doesn't name anything. And because of that, the foreigners are now in control of Afghanistan. And the hope for the future is that the foreigners will move and Afghanistan will be in charge of its own destiny. And he says that the year 1390, Salinal Mubarak, which is the new year and celebrated in Afghanistan with the vernal equinox that was just a few days ago, will be the year when Afghanistan will focus on resuming its responsibility for its own safety and security. So I'm just going to stop there, and perhaps some of the other panelists can talk about why he sees 1390 a turning point. What else is at play in that part of the world? Thank you.